All right. It's pretty much as I was done for today. I saw another really clean setup, even better than the one we saw in this buy side delivery. So entered 5 contracts at this SIBI right here. It could come back and redirect to this inversion right there. So what I have is my stop just in this SIBI right here. Let me annotate that as well. I expect this to stay open. This to be a breakaway gap here. So going to the 5-minute, you can see here we broke above here to this new day opening gap, taking out these highs, and then we immediately ran down below this order block right here. Okay, this is a change in state of delivery. So here's another change in state of delivery to the downside. If we go to ES here, I didn't even check if there was an S&T. Don't really care if there is, but it'd be a lot more add confluence here. So that created a smaller high. So let me go to 1 minute, you can see it clear. Okay, see that high right there? So there's that S&T. So that's definitely more confluence with this change in state of delivery right here. So we're using this SIBI right here. Now price can run back and redirect to this inversion. That's kind of where we're holding. I just entered at this SIBI because we saw a nice displacement out of that. And I have my stop at that breakaway gap above the inversion. Now, where am I targeting? I am targeting relative equal lows down below. So right about here. Back to that 5-minute fair value gap and what? That reclaimed gap. So price would want to reclaim back to this gap, and I'm using that to be my draw of liquidity, okay, which is just so near that 50%. And this trade, all I was risking is about $100 to make about 260, 270. So here it is working back to this BISI right here. I want to see price, obviously want to see price run through this insufficiency right here. Look to see if I can scale in. Now that we're kind of working above that 75%, we came back to retest it. That would have been a good scale. Now prices already ran lower. I want to see if we can get a strong close below this, and then if it comes back to retest that 75%, I could enter maybe another 3 more contracts, and I'm going to reduce my stop too. And I'm looking at the opening range gap here. Okay, as I was showing some students of how this strong delivery to that new day opening gap pretty much would have been done for the day if we took this trade. Wasn't really interested until we saw a strong change in state of delivery on the 5-minute. And knowing that reclaimed gap right here with the risk and liquidity there is where I'm expecting price to draw to. So there's a strong candle close right there. Let's see if we run through this insufficiency. So I want to see this all get run through and maybe retest back to this order block here for an entry to scale in maybe 3 more contracts. I want to see a strong delivery inside this BISI. I don't want to see it wicking. So you pay attention to the 5-minute here. I'm going to highlight this whole insufficiency right here on the 5-minute so we can pay attention to that midpoint. Come back to retest this. Let me use this right here. Okay. Reason why I'm using that is because price came all the way to the high, filling this void, and then we immediately ran away from it to come back to touch constant encroachment again and then trade back. So there it came into this order block. Here I would want to enter maybe 3 more contracts. Let's see if it trades a little higher in there. Okay. 3 contracts more. Now we're about 8 contracts. Expecting price to not trade back to that high again. Go back and touch the SIBI. So that's still about $120. So just $20 more. So I was risking 100. Now I'm risking 120. Targeting, that'll be about $450. So about $450 is now what we're targeting. So I kind of scaled in here. I like this setup a lot because that reclaimed gap is a key area that I know price will draw to after sweeping out buy side liquidity and already displacing away from this new day opening gap. We had a strong change in state of delivery on the 5-minute here. Price closed above that order block right there after we swept the high. So what do we see here? A 22 model. Okay, a 22 model setting up right now as well. And that reclaimed gap with that resting liquidity sitting below there. See those lows? All those lows right there. That becomes a key area that I want to see price run to. Now, where is the 50% of that opening range gap? Right here. That's just where I want to see price run to. We've now worked below this 75%, and then we trade into that. That's why I added 3 more contracts. Want to see it now play as resistance and see a delivery to that 50% and just tap that reclaimed gap for a nice $450. Now, we took a $184 loss, so this will probably be about a $250-ish trade for the day, which is nice. I'll take that. Now we're still risking about $120 here. Okay, it's coming back up to that 75%. We're watching that. Okay, watching that key level there. Hold as resistance. If you can't see it, I'm gonna just annotate like this for you. It's pretty much there at that change in state delivery. Okay, so just pay attention to that line. I don't know if it shows on my chart when I'm streaming it. All right, we're in that 150 macro. I'd like to see it draw pretty strong to that 50% here. During this macro, I'd like to see this delivery right here from that 75% to that 50% of that opening range gap. I want to see a strong sell side delivery here. We have about 9 minutes till the end of this macro. So the macro ends at, I'll put a vertical line at 210 right there. So I want to see price run to that 50% before we get past this vertical line right here. I'll make that purple. Okay, right there. So we're accumulating. So usually when we see this accumulation, we're accumulating orders and then we see a strong delivery. So let's see if we get that to the downside. Got about 8 minutes till the end of this macro. So there's that 75%. Mark that purple too. And then the 50% is where I want to see price run to, which is right there. Okay, so from there to there before 210. And then I want to see a wick into that reclaimed gap. That's where we have our limit order. This is about a 100 tick move, okay, to that 50%. But 115.14 with 8 contracts. So you can see how that's about $450 right there with 8 micro contracts. So there's a strong candle outside this accumulation. Let's see if we see it continue to push lower. We got about 6 minutes, so we need some candles to start pushing here. Okay, there it is to that 50% and then to that reclaimed gap. Now with this, I'm going to reduce my stop to break even. So again, should be about a $450 move to that reclaimed gap. And like I said, it's going to reject probably at this 50%, but I want to see it just wick into this reclaimed gap or just jump into that area. Okay, barely touched it. Still got a couple more ticks. I'd like to see it just jump. Let's go to 5 minute here. See how the price is just running pretty strong right here through this insufficiency. Okay, so I want to see it get to this 50%. Create more insufficiency here. It just tapped into that volume imbalance right there. Let's see if it wants to run lower now. And there it is. Bam, hit the 50% before the end of this macro. Can we make its way to this reclaimed gap here and take us out at 400, almost at 450 here? We should see it just jumping here. Come on, with this run to the sell side imbalance here, that volume imbalance. Then it ran to the 50% here. Look at the body there. I want to see just wick a little bit lower there. Okay, it could come back up higher before coming to this reclaimed gap. It might move away from that 50%. I wanted to see the wick a little bit lower. What I'm going to do is I might just take some contracts off here if we get above this candle right here. Running back to that volume imbalance there. I'd like to see like a wick like that down here. Come on. You know you want to go there. You know you want to go there. Here we are at that 210 mark, so you can't see the wick. I'm going to get rid of this vertical. There it is right there. You're starting to see it kind of slow down, right? You see the selling pressure starting to slow down here. So we're going to take off 5 contracts here. Oops, I just actually took a buy there. Let's go ahead and take that out real quick. And there it is. Bam. All right. There it is. Back to that reclaimed gap. I ended up actually entering more contracts in there than just got rid of it. So we actually closed 8 contracts right there. So that was for a $450 trade. With 8 contracts. Now I did scale. I scaled in, right? But there's the delivery. There's the sell side delivery. We had the change in state delivery. We had an SMT price displaced away from that new day opening gap. SMT reversal starts setting up. I'm not looking to target the low, okay? For those traders that begin trading and saying, oh, we're going to catch this whole sell side delivery to this low, okay? Where's the lowest hanging fruit objective? Where do you know where price is possibly going to draw to? We know that reclaimed fair value gap. Price is drawing to that. It's a key level that price will keep reclaiming, keep repricing towards. And it possibly can run lower. Okay, you can see this BISI right here, how it treats that BISI if it wants to continue to run lower to these lows. You can use that low, and this low is pretty relative, maybe sell side right here. But I am taking the lowest hanging fruit objective. We came back to that 50% into that reclaim gap. Maybe we want to work back up, or do we work through this to that 25% and through that to that sell side balance or sell side liquidity? Okay. So that's 3 trades I took today. Necessarily, I don't want to really take 3 trades, but you know, with how the AM session went, and then seeing how the PM started moving, we started getting some nice directional moves, right? We started seeing really some good delivery, buy side and then sell side. Okay, so there was an opportunity for a buy side delivery here. Didn't take that one. It was a really good setup too, but this one I even like better because we got a change in state of delivery first, and then we entered and knew where price was drawn to, because that reclaimed fair value gap is a key area that price will reprice. Okay, so 1 for 2 today, but guess what? We're still in the profit. Okay, still in the profit for a $230 win, $234 about.